happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we got another huge update. You guys can probably already tell that it is going down just by that title alone. You guys are definitely gonna want to check this one out. Guys, this was a bit of a doozy for me, but we've got the known murderer of Austin Metcalf, Karmelo Anthony, being set free by a local judge in this one, guys. I'm excited to get into it, see what's going on there. So we'll hop straight into it. I'll ask that you guys please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and without further ado, let's hop straight into it, folks. Check this one out.
After like what seems to be just a disagreement about who's sitting where, the death penalty for the unarmed Austin Metcalf. Stab him, kill him. This is killer Karmelo Anthony. What's happening now? He's getting rewarded. He's getting rewarded for murdering a white kid. That's what's happening. It is a sick system. This is why race relations are here in this country, I'll tell you. And it started with Barack Obama, and this is the legacy of Barack Obama. Killer teen Karmelo Anthony's family reveals other plans for $400,000 in legal defense funds. Get a load of this. So he's being rewarded for murdering a white kid. They've lowered his bond. The judge lowered the bond from $1 million because he's a murderer. Here's the judge, ladies and gentlemen. Karmelo Anthony bond was lowered from $1 million to $250,000. He only has to put up 10% of that, by the way. But here's your judge. Let me make something very clear to you. If Austin Metcalf had done the murder in cold blood, then I would be advocating for Austin Metcalf to go to prison for the rest of his life, or the death sentence, or whatever. It doesn't matter who you are. You shouldn't kill anyone in cold blood, but you certainly shouldn't be rewarded for doing that. And that is exactly what's happening right now. It is an absolute sickness. Not only has Karmelo Anthony's GoFundMe raised $400,000, totally demonic. They're paying for the murderer to kill. But also now his bond has been lowered. And his family is now saying that they need the money. The family is saying that they're not even going to use the money to fight the legal battles for Karmelo Anthony. Get a load of this. The family whose teen stabbed 17-year-old boy in Texas plans to use the $400,000 in legal defense fund to move homes. So they're going to buy a new home. They're going to hire private security, which if they do it the way that BLM did, they're just going to pay family members, right? It's going to be a massive fraud. That's what BLM did. In court, as he faces first-degree murder charges for the killing of Austin Metcalf, who died in his twin brother's arms after being stabbed in the heart at a track meet. During the hearing, prosecutors asked the father why he could not use the more than $415,000 in donated funds to his son's defense to pay the $1 million bond, which was reduced to $250,000 on Monday. So again, reward. Just 10% of that amount must be paid, meaning Anthony will likely be free very soon. Anthony said the fund was used for Anthony's legal defense, but he also disclosed the cash would be used for security to help the family. Anthony's attorney said regarding the money, it would be disingenuous to say there isn't money, but it's not a bond fund. The family needs to survive. So they're going to use they're going to use the money to buy a new house. This is why you have a zero trust society. It's enraging. We asked extremely woke Google AI, black crime rates. That's all we put in, black crime rates. Let's see here. Overall, in 2019, Black and African Americans accounted for 26% of all adult arrests. Black and African American adults accounted for 51% of arrests for murder or manslaughter. Of course, they just shove white crime statistics in there for some reason. Overrepresentation. While making up a smaller percentage of the population, around 12% of the country, Black Americans are overrepresented in arrests, certain crime categories, including violent crimes and murder and robbery. This is why we had Dr. Carol Swain on our program recently. She's the expert on this topic. She literally wrote the book on it. And we wanted to ask about these hideous crime rates and the dual system of justice in this country. Here's how that conversation went. It's fascinating.
We have to speak truth about the crime problem. Otherwise, we'll never be able to address the racial problems in America. There will be no unity because whether white people express it or not, everyone knows what the problem is.
Well, it's reflected in the data. And there is it's reflected in the data. There's a disproportionate. Here's the graph that we were showing about race relations falling off a cliff. It's a disproportionate amount of data pointing to young black youths being incredibly violent and far outsized in the murder rates and in the violence rates. And that seems to be like a question that has to be taken head on. But it isn't helped with 500,000 people donating to Carmelo Anthony's GoFundMe when you can murder somebody and then get a lot of money for it. That's crazy. This is a system that is broken here. The judge just lowered the bond for Carmelo Anthony down to $250,000 for stabbing and murdering a kid. I don't care what his it doesn't matter. You stabbed and murdered someone,
right?
Like it is irrelevant if it's some old man sitting on a park bench, right, or a kid at a track meet. There's zero justification to ever stab and murder somebody, no matter what they say to you. Well, it seems to be this individual is getting rewarded, Doctor.
Well, he's certainly being rewarded, and for a while after George Floyd, it seemed as if the fastest way to get rich in America for some black people was to have a relative killed by a police officer, because the cities just immediately settled regardless of the circumstances. And I think that in the situation of the black violence, it is totally irresponsible not to address it and call it out for what it is. And some of the progressives and even some of the conservatives will say, oh, well, we have to make excuses because they don't have daddies. It's true, they don't have daddies, but that's no justification. And I think that there is a moral failing, that there's so much focus on people about, I don't want to violate church and state. We don't want to have religion in school. But the young people that have no hope, they have no hope for themselves. They devalue their own lives as well as the people that they're killing. They need a serious intervention. And if we had leaders in America, and not just black leaders, real leaders in America, they would call it out, they would address it, and some change would take place. And Bob Woodson of the Woodson Center, he's about the only high-profile black leader. Brandon Tatum, there's some other people. I think that Turning Point USA and the people that were involved with Brexit, they are trying. But that should be something that we should be united on. The black leaders have failed Black America, anyone who calls themselves a black leader for the most part. And so it's time for other leaders to step up, hold them accountable. And it's time for the black churches that are in the back pocket of the Democratic Party because they get money during elections. They need to be held accountable. I mean, God will hold them accountable, but in the meantime, the rest of us need to hold them accountable, because part of the problem in the black community is that the churches have failed the inner city blacks, and government has substituted, for God and for religion and faith.
Yo, there we have it, guys. That one coming from our friend Benny Johnson. I'll definitely be sure to leave that original video link down in the description box below. Those who want to go over there and check that entire thing out, also you guys to go over there and show our friend Benny Johnson tons of love and support. He's a great guy. Oh my goodness, guys. Is this another case of a DEI judge? You know what they say, there is nothing more dangerous than a liberal judge now reducing the known killer Carmelo Anthony's bond from $1 million down to $250,000, which is pocket change essentially for a family who just overnight stole $400,000 in donation money. Now they're talking about buying a brand new lavish house, doing the same thing that we've seen with BLM, where they kind of ranked up their lives based off of this crisis in America. It makes no sense why these folks are being rewarded. This guy should have definitely stayed behind bars. There is no justification for lashing out like he did over words. This guy wasn't assaulted. He wasn't in fear for his life. There was no type of exchange like this. We're talking about over a couple of bleacher seats. There's tons of bleachers. If you really thought about it, you could have went over to the other side, sat on the visitor side if it was, no more seats available for you. But we're seeing that they're rewarding this terrible, terrible, heinous behavior, and it needs to stop. I want this judge investigated, because how do you come to the judgment or the conclusion that this guy's bond needs to be reduced from $1 million down to $250,000. Not to mention they only had to pay 10% of that, which would have been $100,000. Again, pocket change for family who just came up with stole over $400,000 in donations from folks who are sympathetic to a killer. That's another one that I'm trying to get through my mind. Who is donating to a cold-blooded killer? Those folks ought to be ashamed of themselves. I've seen a stat that Karmelo somehow, him and his family has raised more money than the victim of this heinous crime. I mean, what world are we living in right now? What has this world come to where you could kill someone in cold blood and raise more money than the person who was the victim's family who had to lay their family member to rest? This is so sad, guys. I want that judge investigated. Check out her stats, what's going on, because this is the first time that she's been sympathetic for these unknown killers. Guys, hop in the comments section. Comments are open. Definitely excited to hear what you guys are thinking about this. And also make sure you guys please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you enjoy more content like this, catch you guys on the next week.